Hello everybody, you're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain. This is the weekly radio show where we chat about the local arts news. We have a different guest on the show each week. We play local, unsigned and or independent music. We head over to the Rhylight Zone for a short story and or some poetry. And we catch up with Twangling Jack Ford later on in the show for a weekly album review. As always, you can find us on Facebook. If you search for The Art Show on Wickham Sound, you should be able to find us. And we're repeated on Wickham Sound on Monday nights. We're on the Wickham Sound Listen Again. We're on iTunes, Spotify and wherever else you get your podcasts. You can also reach out to me here at the studio on dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. That's dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. And I'm particularly keen to hear from poets, performers, musicians, anyone with MP3s to share, anyone who thinks I might be a good guest, or anyone with local arts news. So this week we are chatting to local musician and artist Jack Smith, but before we do that we're going to head over to the Rhylight Zone, and this is a piece of flash fiction that I wrote called Take Your Pick. This was actually for when I appeared on A.B. Frank's podcast and YouTube show, and he was a previous guest for us as well. So this is Take Your Pick by myself, Dane Cobain. Take Your Pick. Phoenix met the devil at the crossroads. Her 137,625 TikTok followers had sent her. It was how Belle Delphine had learned the Ahegao face. The secret, they said, was to make a sacrifice. Belle Delphine sacrificed her innocence. Phoenix burned her fender. The devil appeared in a puff of smoke and cracked his fiery whip as though it was a Tenacious D music video. "Who dares draw me from my deathly abode?" he boomed, with a voice like bold italics with caps lock left on. "Don't you know who I am?" Phoenix replied. "I have 137,625 TikTok followers." "Ah, yes," the devil said, "my most fiendish invention. Well, your sacrifice checks out, though I'm a Gibson man myself. What do you want?" "I heard I could sell my soul for talent," Phoenix said. "Millennials," the devil said, "you think you deserve success because you were given prizes for participation, always looking for something for nothing. Like Mark Knopfler." "Yes," the devil said, "except he didn't get his chicks for free. Well, young lady, I have good news." He clicked his fingers on both hands and the stench of brimstone filled the air. Smoke came from nowhere and swirled around him, solidifying into two triangles in the palms of his outstretched hands. Phoenix leaned forward and looked at them. They were guitar picks. "The red one will make you sing like Jeff Buckley," the devil said, "and the blue one will make you play like Hendrix. But I warn you, there's a price." "There's always a price," she replied. The devil smiled, his black teeth like an echo of a Pam Ayres poem. "Take your pick," he said. Okay, that was Take Your Pick by myself, Dane Cobain, for this week's entry into the Rhylight Zone. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and this is Twangling Jack Ford with the Climate Song.
Our revolution, we must find a solution. It's up to us. It's up to us. We created an empire, ignited upon fire. It's up to us. It's up to us. But the world will keep turning, though our cities are burning. It's up to us. It's up to us. There must be a price to pay. We should have started yesterday. It's up to us. It's up to us. Argue who is to blame, but the outcome will be the same. It's up to us. It's up to us. 'cause the world will keep turning. Though our forests are burning, it's up to us. It's up to us. And the rich will keep earning, and we need to be learning. It's up to us. It's up to us. And the world will keep turning. Though our planet is burning, it's up to us. It's up to us. It's up to us. It's up to us. It's up to us.
That was Kinsakurai by Rob Full Stop, and before that we had Twangling Jack Ford with the Climate Song. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and it's time for us to be joined by this week's guest, who is the one and only Jack Smith. Over to Jack. I want to talk to you about a bunch of different things. I guess a good place to start is because you do your art and you do your music as well. And I wondered, do you consider yourself to be an artist or a musician, or do you consider yourself to be both?
Well, I'd say mainly leans more towards the arts aspect, mainly because I have more education in towards arts than music. But yeah, it's just where it goes.
Yeah, but I mean, I suppose. So why do you make music? Is it like a thing of self-expression?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
It's one of those things where you sort of, I suppose, you can't not as well, like, because music, I think, is a big part of you. Like, even your art is very influenced by music and by things like psychedelia in particular. Who are some of your favorite bands and musicians?
Well, my favorite bands. Well, my favorite band is the one which got me into music, which isn't very psychedelic, but it has roots to psychedelia. It's ELO, or Electric Light Orchestra. The reason why I say it has roots is because they have members who go in bands like a band called The Move. There's another one called Ideal Race, which has a few members from there which moved over.
Yeah.
So, but favourite psychedelic bands, I'd say they mainly go more towards the obscure ends. So it's stuff like 50 Foot Hose, Red Crayola, Silver Apples. There's a really weird one called United States of America. It's really bizarre stuff.
Bizarre country as well. Cool. And who are some of the guitarists that inspire you? Are they like the guitarists from those bands, or are you much more, I don't know, Jimi Hendrix and stuff? Because your guitar, I would consider you to be like a lead guitar player, whereas I'm very much like, I'll just play a few chords,
Yeah. I'm definitely more of a solo person, a solo guitar player.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't put Hendrix right at the top, but I'd mainly go for obscure bands, as I said. But I'd say probably the main well-known guitarist is the legendary guitar synthesizer. Trying to remember his name. Or he's in Gong. He's in Gong. Steve
something.
Steve Hillage, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. And just in terms of your music, what equipment do you use? So, tell me a bit about your guitar, and do you use pedals?
Oh yeah, I've got 4 of them now.
Yeah. So what guitar do you play, and what pedals have you got?
Well, I got a Washburn guitar. I'm not sure about the model. I mainly brought it because it's bridge locking systems.
Yeah.
And it's just quite annoying having to retune it all the time. So I just thought, bridge locking system, it's just easier and better, really.
Yeah.
With the pedals, I'll start off with the first one I got. The first one I got was a delay and looper pedal. It's called Cantor 5 by Montreal Assembly. Now, you can create short loops. I think you could do a lot of other really cool loops. I remember reading on the manual, it said you can record something for 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And then the separate 8 seconds. But I've still not figured that out. I know the loop, and you can reverse stuff, and you can control how long it will delay for, the amount of delay, which is quite cool. There's also a buffer, which is quite cool. Next pedal is my synthesizer, which just looks ridiculous because it's got 14 knobs and 8 switches.
Yeah.
It's called Tracer City by Snazzy FX. Now, I just have the basic understanding of some of the knobs on there, but I understand there's almost like microscopic changes if you change it just by a millimeter. My other pedal is by Earthquaker Devices. They're relatively known for being quite weird.
Yeah.
The pedal I have is called Arpanoid. So when I play a note, it'll carry on in the scale. So it's a bit like the delay, but it'll continue in the key of that note.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You can also control how many steps it has. There's also really strange stuff like octaves. There's octave plus, and then you can go to root off. I still don't really understand that. My last pedal is also my most recent one. It's also by Earthquaker Devices. It's called Disaster Transport Senior. This thing is wild. It's another delay pedal, but it's a dual delayed. It's a dual delay. It's got modulation. It's got reverb. Also, it's really good with creating really weird 1960s Doctor Who sounds.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. And you mentioned, so those are your 4 you've got at the moment. I feel like I have to ask, do you know which pedal you want to get next as number 5?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you got a big list of like, these are all the ones I want to get?
I think I kind of do it step by step, really.
Yeah.
I just have a little scroll down, and then I have a listen to the pedal. I have an occasional glance at the manual, see what it does. Just keep looking at YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And then that's how I find out. So my next pedal I plan on getting is called a Ravish Sitar.
Nice.
Which it emulates a sitar sound.
Yeah.
By Electronic Harmonics, I think it's called. They're quite famous for creating a fuzz pedal called Big Muff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard about that one. Well, I've heard that. I've heard the term, so I don't know whether it's probably actually gone on to become like, I don't know, a bit like how people just say Google it when they mean search for it online, because it's like so iconic, you know. But okay, cool. And I wanted to ask you about your art as well, obviously. So I guess the first thing to ask is like, how would you define your style as an artist?
Well, I normally associate myself with being more of an abstract artist.
Mm-hmm.
But by other people, I'm known as a psychedelic artist. So I guess I'm an abstract psychedelic artist.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. And what's like, how do you create your art? Like, what equipment do you use? And like what materials and that sort of thing?
Well, I mainly use fine liners and felt tips. I just find it's just easier for me.
Yeah.
Also, it's physical. I don't really get on with digital. That's probably why I have like physical pedals.
Yeah.
So I don't really get on with computers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool though, because especially for sort of, I suppose for, you know, the time we're in now, and especially for sort of someone your age, it's quite nice to actually be using, again, like physical, analog, both equipment musically and also, you know, art materials as well, when so much is just, you know, done online. And I guess, I mean, I spoke, well, who are some of the artists who inspire you as well? I'm guessing that do some of the artists whose stuff you enjoy, do they do a sort of a similar approach to creating?
Well, yeah, I'd definitely say so. One of my favourite artists I can think of from the top of my head is Lewis Wayne, who did, I think they called it anthropomorphized cats, or well, I could just say cartoon cats.
Yeah.
But later on, he got schizophrenia.
Okay.
And his artwork really reflected that. His cats started turning sinister, and then it just ended up looking like a abstract geometric acid trip.
Yeah.
So,
That's fascinating. I mean, I've seen a few things as well online where there have been artists who've done something similar. So I think one of them was he was doing self-portraits, and so he starts off with just a normal self-portrait, and then he's like, here's a self-portrait I did under the influence of alcohol, and here's one I did under the influence of, you know, whatever. I probably can't name them because we're on the radio, but a bunch of, you go through all the different illegal drugs and even things like, I don't know, like loads of sleeping tablets or whatever. And it was interesting to see how the art like changed based upon that as well.
Probably not recommended you do that.
No, probably not. No.
Yeah,
well, I
probably
think
not a good thing.
Don't try this at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So how would you say, like, do you think music and art go hand in hand? Because obviously you're kind of bridging the gap between the two of them. But then there are plenty of examples as well of like musicians who've been painters or art that's been inspired by music, etc. So, you know, do they go hand in hand? And if so, why do you think that is?
Well, definitely, yeah. I definitely think that art and music are together. And also, as you said, there are artists who played like guitar as well. I can name two right now. There's Sid Barrett, who's off Pink Floyd. He did art as well. There's Joe Garcia, who's off Grateful Dead, hippie band. Surprise.
Yeah.
But I've always sort of seen art and music as together. It goes with like the album covers. It reflects what you listen to almost, I think. So.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, and it's like fashion and music go together as well. But funnily enough, just about a couple of hours ago, I was watching a video on synesthesia, which is the condition where, you know, some people can hear colours and things like that. And so I suppose that's, I don't know, there's got to be something there. Like there should be some study into that, into the way that works, and because, you know, there must be some sort of inherent link between music and art, I feel. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain. I'm here in conversation with Jack Smith, and this is Hounds of Magic.
She's got astute intuition guiding her life, been developing it since the age of 5. She's low on the radar and high in the sky, won't allow life to pass her by. Her mother looks back at her boring past, staring through the bottom of an empty glass. There's not many people who know she bared her charms for a penny a time at the back of the class. Oh, what can it mean? It's in every little thing that you see. Turn around, touch the ground, 99, 100. Flip a coin, watch it fall, 99, 100. Make a move, stop figuring. Yes, you may lose everything, 'cause I get the impression when I look at you, you're going right. Now the way those girls play is a beautiful thing. Mother on guitar and her kid can sing. They packed up their jobs to pursue a dream, performing the songs of Led Zeppelin. Oh, what can it mean? It's in every little thing that you see. Turn around, touch the ground, 99, 100. Flip a coin, watch it fall, 99, 100. Make a move, stop lingering. Yes, you may lose everything, 'cause I get the impression when I look at you, you're going right. Oh,
Hounds of Magic. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and we're joined in conversation now by this week's guest, who is artist and musician Jack Smith.
You've exhibited your work here and there around about Wickham. You've done some stuff at Wickham Arts Centre. What have been some of your favourite or some of your highlights in terms of where you've exhibited your art so far?
Well, the furthest exhibit I've had my stuff in was in Brighton, near the seafront. It was in a gallery called Broken Arrows, but I think they've moved just along the roads now. So I'll have to wait probably a few weeks before I could go back there.
Yeah.
But it's nice just seeing artists from a different town.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because, and I was going to ask because you know quite a lot of the artistic community in Wickham. Are there any particular local artists whose work you really admire or that you want to give a particular shout out to?
I think I'll name one. I think it's made because I've known this artist from the start. So he's on Instagram. He's goes by name Calculator.
Yeah.
And he does abstract stuff.
Yeah.
But again, it uses quite vivid backgrounds. I think it's normally in like stripes. So it's like stripes going across, and then it's almost like graffiti.
Yeah.
I remember he said, like at the beginning, I thought he said that he worked, or he did. He's into graffiti at the start anyway, and he's just given me a lot of advice throughout the art shows. So that's quite helpful.
Awesome, cool. Well, funnily enough, I've got one of his pieces on my wall up there, and it's right by. Hang on, I'll just show you. You can just about see he did an illustration of my cat. So that's those yellow eyes up there. That's my cat. And Calculator did that. And then there is the one that I got from you at the art show as well. So I've got both of your art on my wall. And I wanted to ask you about that piece I got from you from, I think it was from the Big Arts Market. It was from one of the Art Centre events anyway. But what's the story behind that particular piece of art or that series of pieces?
Well, that's just that was quite an early one. I think that's probably 2019, 2020. I think it's just experimenting with just like flowing lines and just seeing what will happen with stripes if I'd use certain colours.
Yeah.
Also using album covers from the 60s or posters from the 60s. So stuff like Big Brother and the Holding Company, they have really cool posters. And Grateful Dead, they got cool covers.
Awesome. Well, I think I said at the time as well, it reminds me almost of something like, it reminds me a bit of like the Yellow Submarine in terms of that, again, sort of slightly psychedelic art style and, the big fist, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a cool piece. So I need to get some more from you actually. And do you, where is best if people wanted to buy some of your artwork? Is it best just to catch you at one of the shows that you're at? Or do you, can people buy stuff from you via Instagram and things like that?
I mean, I'm fine if you want to email me on my Instagram or just my email address if you're interested. So my Instagram is just Jack Dylan Smith, no spaces, no capitals. My email address is jackds 252002 at gmail.com. So if you want to purchase any of my pieces, just email me.
Awesome.
Or send a message.
And your Instagram is probably the best place actually to go to see some of your art. And also, I think do you do music on your Instagram? I know you've done it on Facebook a few times.
Yes. I always try and post a video on both sites. So yeah.
Cool. And one question, I totally have to ask this one because he always seems so supportive to me, and I wondered, what are some of the ways that your dad's helped to support you sort of throughout the years?
Well, I think he's definitely helped me set up with the art shows, and helped like emotionally. He's sort of given me positive support. So yeah. He
always seems to, like, I suppose, is he your biggest fan, I guess? Like, I know he shares a lot of your music and things like that. So actually, it's funny, I quite often see things that you posted because for whatever reason, the Facebook algorithm, it didn't show me your post, but it showed me that your dad had liked it or shared it or whatever. And I'm like, oh, cool, Jack's posted something. Cool. And the last thing I wanted to ask for you, we've kind of covered where people can follow you. So, I mean, is Instagram the best place for people to follow you?
Yeah, I'd say definitely.
Cool. And what, if anything, have you got planned sort of next over the next couple of years?
Well, I've not planned the years. I've just planned later on, as in a couple of months or a few months ahead. So I'll start off with my first plan. My first plan is to try and experiment with sculpture.
Cool.
Because I found at like lunchtime, I was just creating really weird organic structures with my tin foil. So I thought if I get a wooden base and then some sort of beam, I can get some really cool organic, spacey, sci-fi movie looking thing.
Yeah.
Then my other plan was to create a lot of record a lot of guitar loops, and then design a cover, and then put that on Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm also on Spotify as well.
I've just remembered with you saying that. Yeah, you posted. Is it just the one thing you've got out on Spotify at the moment?
I've got 2 things out now. So
cool. And you're hoping to, again, I mean, that'll be really cool as well. So I'm guessing you'd be, as you say, you'd be doing the guitar work, but you'd also be doing the cover as well, which I think is quite unusual. I can't think of many people that have done that. I'm sure there are people, but yeah, that'll be worth looking out for. So that's hopefully coming later on this year.
Yeah. Also, Gordon's also right next to me, and he's also lifting up a sign saying College Art and Design.
Yeah.
Which I'll be going to that in September.
Cool.
The art and design course, it goes on for a year.
Yeah.
It's just level 2. So
brilliant.
I'm sure that'll go quite nicely.
Yeah, and if nothing else, you'll pick up a bunch of inspiration and stuff from there as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
are you exhibiting? Is your art around anywhere in Wickham anytime soon? Because I know there's the big art market coming up at the art centre. So you're going to be at that?
From the 11th of June to the 26th of June.
Cool. Awesome.
I'll be exhibiting my artwork. Also, I got prints as well. Nice. I got prints, I got mugs, I got t-shirts.
Brilliant.
So
cool.
Big thank you to Jack Smith for joining me. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and this is Maz Manzini with The Black Siren.
Crashing gale force came moving over the sea. 1710, golden age of piracy. She's broken like a horse, Euros trying to set her free. They called her the Black Siren. Hanging for Jamaica, swollen captain's pride. Praying to Poseidon for some eventide. Rack 'em in the quarters, Bonnie on the slide, when they sailed on the Black Siren. You let me get on, Jura. Man, I wanna feel it, shake us to Cuba. Oh, 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 let me get on, Jura. Man, I wanna feel it, shake us to Cuba. Oh, oh. Vessels in the port keep catching captain's eye. Roger raised up on the 4th of July. And if they call his bluff, Calico Jack is back inside, but he's sailing the Black Siren. Repair his name, sing out his song. We feel his pain, the Calico one. Repair his name, sing out his song that they played on the Black Siren. That they played on the Black Siren. That they played on the Black Siren. You let me get on, Jura. Man, I wanna feel it, shake us to Cuba. Oh, 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 let me get on, Jura. Man, I wanna feel it, shake us to Cuba. Oh, oh, yeah. You let me get on, Jura. Man, I wanna feel it, shake us to Cuba. Oh, 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 let me get on, Jura. Man, I wanna feel it, shake us to Cuba. Oh, oh. Russian gale force came moving over the sea. 1710, the golden age of piracy. She's bucking like a horse, Euro's trying to set her free. They called her the Black Siren. Yeah, they called her the Black Siren. Yeah, they called her the Black Siren.
Don't you
That was In the Name of Progress by Without My Addiction, and before that we had The Black Siren by Maz Manzini. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and it's time for us to head over to the Ilkshed now for this week's album review from Twangling Jack Ford.
Robert Wyatt, Sleep. In the late 60s and early 70s, Canterbury and Kent produced a number of rock bands who were influenced by jazz and created a style of progressive rock music that is known as the Canterbury sound. The musicians all tended to play with each other in different combinations. Robert Wyatt was the drummer and singer in the Soft Machine, who were one of the best known of these bands. After his departure from the Soft Machine, he formed his own band, Matching Mole, but his career as a rock drummer was cut short when he fell out of a window at a party and broke his back. As a solo act, he made a couple of albums for Virgin Records called Rock Bottom and Ruth is Stranger Than Richard. But the remarkable thing was that he had a hit single with a version of I'm a Believer. Robert Wyatt has a very distinctive voice that divides opinion. He is originally from Bristol and he sings in the same accent he speaks in. There are those that say he sings out of tune, to which he is known to reply that he chooses to sing the notes between the notes. So some thought his I'm a Believer was a joke, but others absolutely loved it. He insisted on appearing on Top of the Pops in his wheelchair despite the protestations of the producers. During the punk era, he released a number of political singles and a version of a Chic song, all on Rough Trade Records. Over the years, if anything, his recordings have become more accessible, commercial even. His latest solo album, Comic Opera, released in 2007, is full of hummable, catchy tunes, and his voice has matured from a whine to a croon. He makes music that is very hard to categorise. He has always had a following and a lot of respect from other musicians. Elvis Costello wrote the song Shipbuilding for him, which was also a fairly successful single. His albums can be quite experimental, especially in the way he sings syllables that are not part of words, or he will just sing tunes as if imitating an instrument. A Robert Wyatt song may include witty lyrics, nursery rhymes, avant-garde horns and jazz piano, but it will always have an element of something to make it listenable. Often he will both play trumpet and imitate a trumpet. The backing music typically features keyboard and layered vocal drones and jazzy drumming. During the 80s he mostly recorded everything himself, but the album Sleep, released in 1997, saw him playing with other musicians. It gained a degree more attention than its previous albums because one of the musicians and collaborators was Paul Weller. It is an album apparently written on the subject of insomnia. It starts with a rocky poppy number with a George Michael Faith Bo Diddley beat. It has many melodic songs, one of which shows a strong subterranean homesick blues feel. The second song is the only really eccentric moment, being a variation on the Grand Old Duke of York. The album also contains one of his best-loved numbers, Free Will and Testament, which was also the title of a BBC documentary about him, and contains the line, "What kind of spider understands arachnophobia?" Sleep. Robert Wyatt.
Big thank you to Twangling Jack Ford for this week's album review. Thank you to Jack Smith for being this week's guest. Thank you to everyone whose music I've shared. As always, you can reach out to me here at the studio on dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. That's dane.cobain @wickhamsound.org.uk. I particularly want to hear from poets, performers, musicians, people with MP3s, people with stories to share, people who might make a good guest. Get in touch. You can also find us on Facebook. If you search for The Art Show on Wickham Sound, you should be able to find us. And we're repeated on Wickham Sound on Monday nights. We're on the Wickham Sound Listen Again. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. So I'm going to leave you with one last song, and this is Joe Martin with Dreamlike State. I'll see you next week.
I'm here like a line in the sand on dry land. Maybe I should be writing something to mean something to somebody, to me. But the words are like drip, drip, and somehow they don't wanna fit. There's a shift and it changes. I'm into different stages. Oh, I'm just sat here reflecting on my life, taking step by step. And sometimes I'm not walking or talking, lying on the carpet in a dreamlike state. Lying on the carpet in a dreamlike state. I'm just sat here reflecting my life, taking step by step. But sometimes I'm not even walking or talking. Lying on the carpet in a dreamlike state. Is this my fate? To drift, to ebb and flow, to escape, let us fall from the sky and land on me like snow. And all I can do is take it slow. All I can do is take it slow. Oh.
We started at the bottom and we met up at the top. And you don't know what you're missing till you realize it's lost. And I don't know where you're going, and I don't know where you've been, but I will walk the road with you, my friend. I met her at the crossroads, but I took a funny turn. Now the wolverines and foxes think that I'm a skeleton, and they make me run away before we get a chance to talk. But my friend, this is the road we have to walk. I think I ought to tell her that I really like her style, and I'd like to understand her and hang out for a while. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been, but I will walk the road with you, my friend. They're not nobody's problems, 'cause someone has gotta solve them. But you can lean down on me. And when you got nowhere to stay, I'll help you find another way. So you can lean down on me. We started at the bottom and we met up at the top. And you don't know what you're missing till you realize it's lost. And I don't know where you're going, and I don't know where you've been, but I will walk the road with you, my friend. song.